Inflation is going up higher than it's been in 30 plus years. Is the Biden administration doing everything in their power to help you out? Let's get into it in the Derek O'Shea Show. Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show, where we discuss culture, news, politics, and more. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the show. Be sure to tell your friends and family about the revolution. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me. It means so much. Please share this video on all social media networks, all the best ones. I would greatly appreciate it. Or just, tell your neighbor, tell people word of mouth about the Derek O'Shea Show. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you want to support my show, and shout out to Stacy, a new supporter, a new doubled up. Thank you, Stacy, for your support. But if you want to continue to support my show, you can buy me at coffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show. The links are always in my bios and also in the show notes, as always, if you're just an audio listener. Let's get into the news. Have you been frustrated with rising inflation? This administration seems to be completely, and I mean completely, okay with pushing the blame for inflation on everything else. I watched a 60 Minutes news report on this whole trucking and bottleneck issue, and they continue to push the blame on each other. Ergo, it's no one's fault. There's nothing we can do, and we're figuring it out. Just like the border crisis, right? It's like we didn't create any problems whatsoever, even though, factually you did. But we're going to push the blame on others so we don't ever have to address that issue. And I see that in a lot of our culture daily anyways, with people saying, especially in leadership, it's not my fault, it's your fault, it's their fault, it's their fault. And said, we don't live in a culture where taking responsibility and blame for things, even though that maybe we didn't have control over, but we were in leadership over a position, we have an obsession with pushing the blame on others and never taking the blame, never accepting responsibility as a leader and as a human should. We don't encourage it, and we don't see it in our administration. For me, it's been a struggle listening to the Biden administration and their reasoning for inflation and their reasoning for the bottleneck issue and the way they talk about the border crisis as if it's a systemic issue that we'll get to later. It's been hard listening to this administration talk about them wanting to decrease prices on goods. At the same time, pushing for companies, hey, it's not a bad thing if companies are having to pay their employees more because no one's coming to work. It's a good thing. The right is in the employers. Who do you think catches that price increase? You? Yes. These companies, I swear, there are people in my generation that I just assume companies just take on the load, if you will. They'll take the responsibility of paying extra for things as opposed to passing it down to you. That's what inflation is. Inflation is a tax on the poor, middle class poor. It's not necessarily a tax on the rich because they can handle it. If you're paying $175, which I've seen is an average of most Americans extra per month on their groceries, which for me, I think it might even be more. That's not a tax on the rich. That's a tax on the poor. That's a tax on those who don't make as much money. $175 is a lot of money. You might have gotten that raise, so you're making, $50, $60 more a month because of inflation. You're still paying more for groceries in the end. You lose in the end. Always with politicians and their policies, despite it making you feel good on the inside, the American people like you and me lose out in the end. As we're seeing Glenn Youngkin, the promised Republican who is going to save Virginia. I keep telling these people, if your hope is that a Republican is going to get in office, your life is going to get better. Yeah, right. He just allowed the mask mandates, vaccine mandate for local government. So if you think a Republican is going to go out and be pro-freedom, you need to know your candidates. I know the Democrat was really bad, and so it's better than having him. But this idea that if you vote for a Republican, you're going to have a savior, it's just not true. Historically, it's not true. And the ones that actually do fight for you, the media hates with a vengeance. So you might be feeling the pain of inflation. You might be feeling the pain of the gas prices. I have family members that live in California. I don't get it. Of what they pay for housing, what they pay for gas, electricity, etc., etc. Yeah, but it's 72 degrees all the time. Great. So maybe you're feeling the pain. Maybe you're wondering, has this administration continued to talk about this? Are they doing anything about this when it comes to the holidays and what is happening? Well, as a matter of fact, Kamala Harris is on her tour to prove that she's a formidable, incredible vice president, despite the poll numbers and despite rumors about the Biden administration not really having much favor towards Kamala Harris. Now, these are rumors and but they're reported even on CNN, so makes you wonder. But she's on her tour to show how much work she's doing for this administration and this country to change the image. And she goes on with Mr. Hillary Clinton himself, George Stephanopoulos, and he actually asks her a real question like a human being should, not like corporate media usually does. Because corporate media, they're not human. they're just like, you're robotic, you're so, I don't know, you just want the job. It's like a politician. Let's listen to George Stephanopoulos ask Kamala Harris a question, and her response should tell you everything about how they feel towards you and what you're paying and their plan for gas. And then I will break down why they view that way. I have a lot of stuff coming up, so sit back, kick back, put a seatbelt on for safety reasons, and let's listen.
That as Americans are feeling pretty sour about the economy as we head into the holidays. It's going to cost more to drive home for Thanksgiving, more to put the turkey on the table, more to buy gifts for the kids at Christmas. What can you do about these high prices? How long is it going to take?
Well, first of all, it's real and it's rough. Groceries, the cost of groceries has gone up. The cost of gas has gone up.
Yes.
And as this is all happening in the context of 2 years of a pandemic.
As Americans
That's right. It's just the pandemic. Yes, that is some case about it. As of right now, in Thanksgiving inflation, according to Biden, the Farm Bureau says Thanksgiving dinner will cost up to 14% more this year. It's just pandemic. And then gas comes out days after the climate accord, the climate summit. This is a quote from Biden, and I'm pulling this from Huffington Post, so you know they love it. No more subsidies for the fossil fuels industry, Biden said. No more drilling on federal lands. No more drilling, including offshore. No ability for the oil industry to continue to drill, period, ends. They care about the gas prices. They're doing everything in their path for the gas prices. As this just came out, and this is from Breitbart, federal judge grants injunction on Biden's oil and gas ban on federal lands. A federal judge on Monday issued a nationwide injunction on President Biden's executive order to halt oil and gas operations on federal lands in the name of fighting so-called climate change. These people do not care about what you're paying for at the pump. Get it in your head. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Republican. They don't care. Their mission is electric. As yesterday, Joe Biden did his little electric vehicle runoff where he gassed the pedal and said, wow, that's fun. Does anybody jump in the back? This is their plan. They're crippling that industry, and they want to pretend like it's a COVID issue, as opposed to that huge pipeline that went through the middle of the country that shut down day one. They don't care. I just saw the lease, lots of leases for oil and oil to be manufactured in New Mexico just get halted. They don't care. They don't care. They're not going to try to lower the gas prices. This isn't a transitory issue. This is their plan. This is what they want to happen. They want all of us to be on solar, all of us to be on wind, all of us to be on electric. Even though we can't have an honest conversation. And not only that, they claim that what you're paying for Thanksgiving is transitory. When I will implore you that it's not, because look at this freaking graph. And those of you watching online, I apologize because I obviously zoomed in too much. And there we go. Look at this graph. What is this graph, you ask me? It's our current currency in circulation. Look, there it goes. 1970, not too bad. And then look how much money is in circulation right now, and it continues to rise. Inflation is not a transitory issue. It's not going to go down anytime soon. And these people know it. Shout out to the Federal Reserve. You guys did a great job as soon as we got off the gold standard. Thank you so much for what you've done for our country and my wealth. Keep up the good work. Keep printing money and blaming it on COVID, because that's my favorite. Yes, the Build Back Better plan is also expensive and continues to, it's paid for. We'll just print more money to pay for it, so therefore it's free. It's not coming out of your budget, though it is coming out of your budget, because that's how inflation works. We don't have to actually tax people so they feel the pain. We'll just inflate the cash system so that you feel the pain, but then we can blame it on other things. And that's where my problem is with this administration. He also asked her about the border crisis, which I think is funny. Let's listen to this.
8 months ago, the president gave you the job of addressing the root causes of migration. But last month, we learned that in the past year had the highest number of illegal border crossings since they started to be recorded in 1960. What are you doing to turn that around? How long will it take?
Well, it's not going to be overnight. We can't just flip a switch and make it better.
8 months.
Exactly. And that's their answer for everything. There's nothing we can do. We're trying our best. It's not going to happen overnight. We're doing everything in our power to stop this. They don't care. It's part of their plan as well. Let's just be real. Let's be honest. Have an honest conversation. When you stop the construction of the border wall day one into office, or I don't remember what day it was. It wasn't like the pipeline. Pipeline was day one, but I think this was also day one. I can't remember off the top of my head. I know it was soon. They don't care about illegals crossing the border. They would love low-income, low-wage earners to flood the market. That would make them so happy. This idea that they care about you and how much you get paid at work and your competition and the powers in the worker is all bull crap. And you know it. Just like the gas price. We're doing everything in our power, though everything we're doing is crippling that industry, ergo making prices go up, because we're all about climate change, and the climate change in America's we're worried about, but globally that's putting pressure on other countries to produce more oil so we can consume more, ergo we have to pay more for their prices, and they can set whatever market standard they freaking want, because they're not American and we're not energy independent anymore. So we're pushing their environmental standards. Russia and China, they don't care about the environment, so we're happy to use anything you guys do. We'll buy your products, we'll buy your solar panels, we'll buy, we need your oil. Come on, OPEC, do your thing. Ain't nothing but chicken wang. We're happy to buy from you guys and your poor standards of production instead of being energy independent ourselves and just being the standard of what it looks like to be environmentally friendly while producing oil and gas. That's should be the path forward, but it's not. It's never with this administration. It's never about that. It's about the new reset of being energy independent. It's about status. It's about appeasing their voters, despite what you might feel at the pump, despite what you feel paying for your Thanksgiving dinner, despite what you feel paying for your kids' presents. They don't care. And again, I feel like I have to show this 100 times. This isn't like just a Democratic issue. This is Republicans as well. This is our money in circulation. It's not worth, your dollar isn't worth what it used to be worth. Blame They blame it on COVID. They blame it on the truckers. They blame it on this. They blame it on other countries. They blame the gas prices on OPEC. They blame it on this. Blame is just a lazy person's way of making sense of chaos, according to Douglas Copeland. They don't understand it. They're pushing their agenda, and then you see the media is trying to understand it too, and ergo, they don't want to put the blame on the administration because then it makes their party base, like George Stephanopoulos, look bad. So they're happy to say, Kamala, what do you think's going on? Oh, you want to push the blame on someone else? Great. We'll put that out there. We're doing everything we can. We're asking the tough questions. Sigmund Freud once said, most people do not really want freedom, and we saw that with our 14 days to slow the spread. We were okay with that. Yeah, we're all about freedom here. Most people do not really want freedom because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. And isn't that the truth of our culture today? And light our leaders. But as always with my show, I want to tell what's going on in the world, but I also want to be an encouragement to you. Don't be like this administration. Don't be like the Democratic Party, the Republican Party. Don't be like a politician, always pushing the blame on someone else as opposed to just saying, this is what we're doing, this is how we're combating against it. Or just being honest. At this point, I wish the Biden administration would come out and just say, you know what? We actually don't care what you're paying at the pump because we want everyone on electric. So get in with the times or just keep paying higher prices. I would be pissed off at that as an average person who has to pay gas prices and doesn't have a nice new car to drive. I have an old truck that does its thing and starts up every time she's a beaut. But I wish they would come out and just say the truth. But they won't. They'll rather push the blame because if you can push the blame on something else, your base, your party, the media won't take the time or put it on them as being responsible reporters to actually report the facts. They'll be okay with these short answers. They'll be okay with talking about silly things just to pass the time because here they are with their social media and their 24-hour news cycle, and they're talking about the same stuff over and over again and never getting into the real issues and never pressing this administration on real answers. These people, their agenda is part of the climate accord, and they don't care, once again, they do not care what you pay at the pump. And you should know that. Know that. Hold your politicians accountable. Write them letters. Call their office of things that they're due. People like Glenn Youngkin getting elected, saying, I'm going to be different. I'm going to propose things. I'm all about freedom. And then they don't do it. That is your freaking modern Republican right there. That's why I'm not Republican. I'm just not. Because if you call yourself conservative and you think you are all about being Republican, I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense. But let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know your thoughts on taking responsibility. Because if we just continue to push the blame on other people, we'll never take responsibility, we'll never address real issues, and we'll never grow as a society and human beings if we don't just take responsibility, even if it wasn't all our fault. Don't be like the Biden administration. Don't be like a politician who just wants your vote and only comes out around election time. Let me know your thoughts. Love you guys. Freaking love you. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Enjoy your day. We're still waiting on the Kyle Rittenhouse jury to deliberate and come up with an answer. Crazy stuff happened today as far as jury members being filmed or attempted to be filmed. Jury intimidation. Do we need a witness protection program for jury members? I don't understand. It's just such crazy stuff going on in this country. But people are okay with it, because, well, Sheriff Joe, as Jen Psaki called him the other day, is doing a great job. Have a great day. I love you. Bye.